Never fails, every time. Welcome to Thoughts Off the Stem. Jeez. Welcome to Thoughts Off the Stem. I'm Justin Barone. I've had a few bong hits. I've tried to do this a couple times, and one time I forgot to record what I was doing, so I had to restart. So that's a total of 3 bong hits just to get the show going. Just so you know, Liquid Imagination is in the bong. It's a really nice, energetic, energy-having strain. If you want to know more about it and get a review of it, you can check out the Sunday Strain Review playlist on Thoughts Off the Stem on YouTube. That's right. Dude, I'm so high. You know when you take a couple hits and it just, you haven't, maybe you haven't smoked in 24 hours, you know? And your body's already starting to level back out. And then you take one hit and you're like, oh man, that's good. That's nice. It's like a little joyride. And then you get excited and you try to do what you used to do and you take a couple extra ones and you're like, oh, that was too many. You know? I'm right on that line. Took 3 bong hits and now I'm treading a line, baby. So this week we're going to smoke, what's it called? Purple Aya by One Spliff. It's a 0.5 gram pre-roll. I don't know. I think it's an indica, but I'm not too sure. I smoked one before the podcast. Oh yeah, I also did that. I had 3 bong hits and a joint before I started this, just to warm up, to get loose. So I did that. Now we're going to smoke that one. Now I'm high because I took too many bong hits. And what was I going to talk about this week? Oh, yeah. Jesus. You ever sat around with your buddies and started talking about, last meals and what you would have for your last meal? My kids and I were doing that the other day. And then my daughter goes, Dad, that's what you should do on the podcast. You should do the weirdest last meals. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So I started looking up weird last meals. And I took down 20, okay? There was 20, and I whittled it down to 10 of what I think might be the weirdest last meals. You can look it up on Wikipedia. That's where I got the list, okay? I'll put a link in the description for it, if I can find the link again. So I thought it would be fun to go through what I think are the top 10 weirdest last meal requests by death row inmates, or what is it, unalive row inmates. So okay, we have one category of 10. Jesus, Justin. We have one category of 10, and then I have a couple honorable mentions for the most Canadian and the most American last meals. Okay, so we're starting off with Charles Peace. This was 1879, and he was, how do I say it to get on all the channels? He was a avid unaliver, can you say? And they eventually ended up, unaliving him with a rope, let's say. Okay? His last meal was eggs and a large amount of salty bacon. That's not weird. But what I thought was funny was that he asked for a cup of ice water to wash it down, and they said no. Can you imagine? That's your last meal, and you're like, oh man, that was delicious. I'm a little parched. And you're like, can I have some water? And they're like, nah, you gotta suffer with that. You know what I've never understood? I say that a lot. I really gotta up my vocabulary. I feel like. What I'm trying to say is, there's this element of last wishes that's very telling, I think, of a person. You know what I mean? Because at the root of everything, no matter how evil you are, you still have your basic instincts and your basic joys. So yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling. Okay, back to this. So Charles Peace avid unaliver from the UK in 1879. He was hung. So he asked for that, and then got denied got denied water. Dude, you gotta try liquid imagination. I'm just saying, if you haven't had it before, you should give it a shot. Okay, and the next guy was John. This number 2, John Spankelink. He was also an unaliver, and it was 1979. He was put to the chair. And then he asked for his last meal was a flask of Jack Daniels, and he shared it with the prison superintendent. That's kind of like a badass move, right? You know, like, what would you want for your last meal? I want a bottle of Jack in the company of the superintendent. I wonder what I would do in this situation. I don't even know, dude. Now we have Demetrius Terrence Fraser. It's always, again, most of these people are unalivers. Let's just go with that. If they're different, I'll tell you. Okay? So Demetrius Terrence Fraser, same thing, in 2025, and they, lethal doot doot, and then bye-bye, So his last meal was a beefy 5-layer burrito, a chicken chalupa supreme, beef crunchy tacos, chips and dip, and a Mountain Dew, all ordered from Taco Bell. I think he hated himself. Could you imagine your last meal's Taco Bell? Seriously? Seriously, of all the things you could have, you're going to go for Taco Bell? I guess if you feel like, well, I'm done anyway. I don't know, man. I don't think that would be my last meal. I don't think Taco Bell, really? That's like saying I want Chuck E. Cheese pizza. Like, what are we talking about here? And now we have Odell Barnes Jr. Same thing. The year 2000, again, injection. And he, I guess he turned his life around because he wanted justice, equality, and world peace. That was his final meal request. I don't think you can eat it, but, hey, who knows? Lawrence Russell Brewer, 2011. Again, he was, boop booped with the noop nooped, he asked for, this is a good one. So 2 chicken fried steaks smothered in gravy with sliced onions, a triple patty bacon cheeseburger with fixings on the side, a Mexican omelet with cheese, ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, and jalapenos, 1 pound of barbecue chicken wings, 3 fajitas, and a meat lover's pizza, a bowl of fried okra with ketchup, half a loaf of white bread, 1 pint of Bluebell vanilla ice cream, a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts, and 3 root beers. Brewer's request was granted, but then he refused. Then he refused the meal. He refused to eat the meal. Jesus, when it arrived, saying that he was simply not hungry. So Texas then stopped granting last meal requests to condemned inmates. Dude, there's always one dude. He's got to ruin it for everyone. It's like, I want all the things, and then none of the things. You know what I'm saying? That's messed up. Do you think he did that on purpose? Well, he had to have, right? Like, why would you ask for all? Well, the only reason to, Oh, I hope you're enjoying the sesh. So what is that? That is number 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Lawrence Russell Brewer. He was number 5. He got it. He got every other inmate denied one last meal, because he ordered so much and didn't eat his. All right, James Edward Smith, 1990. Same thing. The foop foop in the arm, a lump of dirt. He asked for a lump of dirt. It was denied, and they gave him yogurt. He ate the yogurt. I don't know why, but I think it had to do with like some kind of religious or anti-religious ceremony. I'm not sure, but they denied him because dirt is not healthy, apparently. George W. Barrett, federal government. I don't know what that means. Whatever. 1936. Oh, they also looped him up. So he requested the largest. Oh, this one's funny. He requested the largest steak in town, but then didn't eat it. After he was, kaput, a reporter who'd been present for the event of his untimely demise, spotted the steak in the jail kitchen and then ate it. So a reporter ate that dude's last meal. Why would you? I don't get it. It's got to be like a pushback thing, right? Like where you're like, yeah, thanks. No, you wasted. So juvenile. Where are we here? Okay, Victor. I don't know how to pronounce this right. Figuer. 1963, again by, rope, requested a single olive with the pit still in it so that when they buried him, then an olive tree would grow in symbol of, peace. that was his plan. And then they found it. They found the pit in his pocket when they buried him. I don't know if they buried him with it. Maybe. I don't think there's a tree, though. I would also take stuff to I would want my watches, Just put them in my pockets. I like watches. Surround me with my shoes. Okay, that was Victor Fauer. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it right, but that's how it sounds in my head. So, Ricky Ray Rector, Arkansas, 1992. He asked for steak fried chicken, cherry Kool-Aid, and a pecan pie. He ended up leaving the pie, and a guard asked him why he left it, and he said because he planned on eating it later. I mean, you got to have a sense of humor, right? And then Philip Ray Workman, he declined a special meal for himself, but he asked for a large vegetarian pizza to be given to a homeless person in Nashville, Tennessee. The request was denied by the prison, but carried out by others across the country. So other people did it for him. Wow, that guy, Why a pizza? Like, I get it. You're in jail. You're like, you don't have like you don't have a big box to think outside of, but like, why one pizza? Maybe that's all he could afford to have because it was his last meal. But then it obviously got us. So I went, okay, wait, hold on. What am I doing? We have four really. So we have 2 Canadian honorable mentions because I found these ones to be the most Canadian last meals that I could find. Okay. Arthur Lucas and Ronald Turpin in 1962. They had, steak, potatoes, vegetables, and pie. Like that, to me, I don't know. If it's wintertime, that's very just Canadian, It'd have to be like rhubarb pie or some shit. And then even though these guys aren't from Canada, they're from South Dakota, or this guy, Rodney Burgett, or Burgett, I don't know. He was in South Dakota. He asked for pancakes, waffles, maple syrup and butter, breakfast sausages, scrambled eggs, French fries, Pepsi, and a cherry nibs and licorice. That also, to me, was very, very Canadian. You can let me know. I don't know. It just does. There wasn't one with Tim Hortons. If there was one with Tim Hortons, obviously that one wins. So those are my ties for the 2 most Canadian last meals. Yeah, steak, potatoes, vegetables, and pie. Like that just says up north, And then really the pancakes, waffles, maple syrup, and butter, and breakfast sausage. That just sounds delicious. But really it's the maple syrup and the nibs licorice that sealed the deal for me for it being, top Canadian, Then the American ones, you guys can help me out with this because, obviously, watch, listen, here. So the American one is William Paul Thompson in Nevada in 1989. He asked for 4 double bacon cheeseburgers, French fries, and a large Coke. Come on. Tell me that is not the most American last meal ever. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's the equivalent if I could have found one that for Canadians said like, um, he drowned his Cheerios in uh, maple syrup on top of pancakes with cinnamon. A side of bacon, a side of back bacon, a side of ham, a couple sausages with chopped up hash browns, salt and sauce on everything. Yeah. So, okay, back to this. Sorry, I had a moment there. All right, so William Paul Thompson, he had the cheeseburgers, double bacon cheeseburger, 4 double bacon cheeseburgers, French fries, and a large Coke. Scott Allen Hain, in Oklahoma in 2003, he had, this is a good runner-up. I'm telling you, there's only one thing that throws this off that makes it not as good. Okay, this is what it is: 3 cheeseburgers, 3 orders of onion rings, ice cream, and a slush. The only thing that made it different was the slush, because realistically, if that was Coke, those would be tied. You know what I'm saying? That just seems insanely American to me. But those are the top 10 with the quadruple runner-ups for some of the weirdest last meals people have asked for. There's a whole list on Wikipedia. You can look it up. You can read them all. Some of them are pretty boring. There was one Brazilian guy, no, a German guy that asked for a fancy cigar and a Brazilian cup of coffee. That was his last meal. I was like, hey, I didn't even think of that. Then it got me thinking, do they do it where you can, like with a last meal, you could actually have like a last event? So like you could then be out and you could watch, a movie, like your favorite movie. You could watch that before while you eat your last meal. I read one case where one guy was able to watch Lord of the Rings while he had his last meal. Then I thought to myself, it's kind of like a psychological like it's a mind fuck to think about. It's the last thing you can watch. It's going to be exciting because you've potentially been in there forever waiting. And then after that, right from there, you have a walk down a long hallway to your eventual, get down. And you have to now process the fact that you could have had a bunch of joy. Oh, dude. See what I'm saying? Like it's, it gets you thinking. And would you do it? Like I know what my last meal would be: 1 slice of like meat lovers pizza, okay, a steak, a Caesar salad, what else would I have? Cheesecake, Oreos and milk. I never saw Oreos and milk on there. That's kind of surprising. I'm a child though, so lemon meringue pie. I'd put that on there. A fruit platter done up like flowers, like from one of those delivery services that does like, the flower fruits and you like pick them off, one of those. Yeah, that would be delicious. I wouldn't want booze. I wonder if I could get a joint. Like, if I could get a joint, I'm down. Yeah. It makes you think, man. Makes you think, but it is kind of funny. It is kind of funny to know that like a couple of these guys just totally gave the finger back to the system. Do you want a meal? Yes, I do. I would like everything you have in town. You don't eat it, and then forever, nobody else. Was he picked on in the jail? Do you think he got like beat up a lot, or like threatened, or I don't know. Maybe he just didn't like people and he didn't want to share. So he's like, I know what I'll do. I'll do this, and then that way these guys never get to have a last meal again. They have to eat fucking. They have to eat jail food for the rest of their life. You know, not cool. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I would hate to be in a position where I have to think about what my last meal is. I mean, I just told you what my last meal would be, but I'm saying, like, I don't have to think about it. I chose to. Dude, I'm so high. Oh, I didn't even smoke the joint. Should we try out the joint before we go? Okay. This is the ayahuasca. Purple Aya from One Spliff. I don't know if you can get it anymore. I think I got it in like a taster pack. I just cleaned out my stash cabinet behind me here, and I found a bunch of joints that I didn't know I had. Yeah, it was fucking weird. So I decided to smoke them. I have one in another case that, like, I'm not so sure of. It smells a little funky, you know? But it could be funky good and it could be funky bad. I won't know till I open it up. I'm going to have to cut it open. And I pre-rolled it, but I left the tip open. So I think it, like, you know, I don't think it aged well once I put it in that, because it didn't really dry out, which is not good. You don't want too much humidity in your weed. So this is like a hybrid. I'm still pretty high off the liquid imagination. But this is a hybrid. It's tasty. It's a nice smoke. You probably need like two of them because they're half grams. They're nicely rolled half grams though. They have like a they have a good they have a good burn. They don't really canoe. They've got good mouthfeel, you know? It's a nice high. Like I said, I smoked this before that. So now that we're smoking and just, you know, passing the joint back and forth. Dude, I'm so stoned. Um, what would be your last meal? It'd be cool if anybody watching this told me what theirs and we could like talk about it and top it. Top each. See, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm stoned. Yeah, this is definitely a hybrid. It's got like a dense smoke. It's yummy. I approve of it if you can find it. Like I said, I got it a while ago. I found it in my cabinet. It's the gift that keeps on giving, my cabinet of weed. So yeah, I gotta stop saying that. Every time I identify something that I say repeatedly, I replace it with something else equally as stupid. And then I have to try and eliminate that. I have got to read more books, man. I don't want to be in the position where I have to, you know, request the last meal and decide whether I'm going to eat the last meal or whether or not I'm going to use it as leverage to screw over other people. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, those are my thoughts off the stem for this week. I hope you enjoyed the sesh. I hope you, um, I don't know, enjoyed the top 10 last meals of prisoners. Some of them dicks, some of them asking for just to share some time. I don't know. I'm high. Liquid imagination is awesome. This stuff is pretty good too. The purple ayahuasca or purple aya pre-roll from One Spliff. Like I said, I found this, so I don't know if you could get this anymore, but it is good. If you had a chance to have it, it's delicious, right? And it's not a heavy high. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the sesh. Hope you come back next week. On what? Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, YouTube, Podchaser, Pandora, Good Pods, everywhere you get a podcast. It's out there. Check out tots420.com for blogs and, other fun stuff. Yeah. Until next time, keep your lids low, baby.